Yo, what's good? It's O.D.D.I.T.Y, and welcome to another episode of The Craft, where we talk all things hip hop. And I mean all things, like literally all things, from opinions to experiences, writing techniques, the current events of hip hop. I want to talk about it because I love this genre. It's given so much to me, and I just want to give back by sharing, and hopefully you guys can share with me. So let's get into this episode.
Some just do it for the cash, others do it for the passion. Is you working on your craft? Is you really about that action? Some just do it for the cash, others do it for the passion. Is you working on your craft? Is you really about that action? The craft. Welcome.
So as you all know, I'm a 90s baby. That is always going to be the greatest influence to my music and my listening experience as a fan. And so obviously the 90s has a certain style to it, a certain sound to it. The boom bap era, yes, there was other sounds, but we think of 90s as like the purest, like a hip hop purist thinks of the 90s as like what hip hop is, even though it's long gone from that sound. And the question is like, why has that sound died off in the current hip hop landscape? And I guess some people combat that with it. It hasn't. You can find it if you go look, and that's true. You know, with Spotify and the access to music from everywhere, you can still find it. You got, Griselda, and you got, Benny the Butcher, all those guys. There's still elements of it in J. Cole and Kendrick, and Joyner, when he was first coming into the game, was more rooted in that. There's still some artists that have the 90s elements, but for the most part, it's died off as a mainstream sound, and the question is why. I've talked about in other episodes how hip-hop is one of the most like ever-evolving genres, and there's multiple subgenres, and so much is pulled from other genres to keep adapting rap and hip-hop to become what it is in its current state. I think that the fact that it's adaptive and so much is being pulled from other genres has a lot to do with why the 90s sound is no longer prevalent. Hip hop is always, at least since like 2010, has been on this like trajectory of like becoming more eclectic and less hardcore, like hip hop sound, I guess, is what, the 90s sound. And it's adapting. You got the Afro-Caribbean, like Drake, I would say like Drake helped put that at the mainstream. You've got like, there's country elements, there's pop elements, there's punk rock elements. And so because it, like we talked about in another episode, there's so many subgenres, the 90s sound, that boom bap, that underground sound isn't as popular anymore because it's too hardcore. I would say the genre is more lighthearted now. You still have the trap music, but it's like the beats are more, you can dance. I don't know. It's a lot more lighthearted. It's a lot more trying to go viral, and that like hardcore music like that isn't as likely to go viral than stuff that makes you smile, dance, laugh, and have a good time. So I think, social media, Twitter, TikTok, those things have kind of been a part of that. But you also do see these new artists sampling a lot of 90s. So it hasn't completely gone away. It's just the production as far as like a 90s style beat isn't as prevalent. But artists are taking those 90s like R&B and rap songs and flipping them into samples or remaking the beats to make, as a more modern style beat. So that is kind of cool to see. But as someone who grew up in the 90s, it is a little sad to see that style of production isn't as prevalent. And who knows, I think in rap, things have a tend to go in a cycle. So it could come back and I still on occasion, have songs that are that way because that's what I grew up with. But I know you have to adapt. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Why has 90s hip hop sound kind of died off? So if you haven't, make sure you hit subscribe, like, leave a comment. Let's talk about this. All my 90s babies. Anybody born in the 80s, 90s. If you were even in the early 2000s, if you go back and listen, tell me why you guys think that sound is no longer relevant. And I appreciate you guys. I'll see you next episode.